The WNBA, listen to this. Owners are mad. They're furious. They're tired of it. The WNBA lost $40 million this year. That's right. They lost $40 million. Now, I just want you to think about it.
No matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game. I know the Monica McNutts and others were getting very, very frustrated at all of the buzz that was going in her direction, not to hate on Caitlin Clark in any way, because I'm sure Monica McNutt does not feel that way. She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball everywhere that deserve their praise.
Experts are destroying Caitlin Clark after news of her leaving the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, the #1 draft pick in the 2024 WNBA draft from Iowa, had a rookie season that made waves in the league. She was a scoring machine, dropping an average of 19.2 points per game, leading the league with 8.4 assists, and grabbing 5.7 rebounds per game. On top of that, she set 11 new league records. But even with those jaw-dropping numbers, her win as Rookie of the Year wasn't entirely smooth. She didn't get a unanimous vote. 66 out of 67 panel members chose her, with one vote going to Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky.
Caitlin Clark wins the Rookie of the Year. There was one vote for Angel Reese, everybody else for Caitlin Clark. This is what's happening, is the voters are now putting out on social media, hey, it wasn't me. Hey, it wasn't me. Hey, it wasn't me. I don't know if somebody comes out and says, hey, I voted for Angel Reese, which it is your, that's your prerogative. You can. I mean, I've voted and had people criticize my votes, but I had no problem telling people. I mean, I was proud to be a voter in the NBA. And if you want to be critical of me, that's okay. I have, my defense there. Somebody thinks Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year. Fine. Maybe it's a writer who covered her team in Chicago. Okay. It's not the end of the world. Like, I don't know if Caitlin Clark's going to go, can you believe I didn't go unanimous? Now, I thought we would have unanimous MVP and unanimous Rookie of the Year. You got that with Asia Wilson, but Caitlin Clark all but won, and I don't think it's going to ruin her summer. I don't. But it feels like all these voters are like, wasn't me.
That single vote stirred up some debate among fans and experts alike, and even WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops, who initially voiced concerns about Clark's Rookie of the Year credentials, made it clear she wasn't part of the voting process once the dust settled. With all this, fans are pointing out that the league doesn't appreciate the level of eyes that Clark has brought in her rookie season. She might just go where she is appreciated and paid better.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan.
It's been a good season.
They cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried. If you got people in a room,
yeah,
if you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done. This girl is incredible. What she did in college for women's basketball, what she's doing in the WNBA.
She turned the Fever, were 1-8. They have a winning record now.
But the number of attention, eyeballs, she's brought to college and the pros. And for these women to have this petty jealousness, you say to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
Now, the WNBA, despite its growing popularity, doesn't offer anywhere near the pay that the NBA does. A lot of WNBA players have to play overseas during the offseason just to make ends meet. And Caitlin Clark, fresh off a record-breaking debut season, might be the next to go that route. There are strong rumors suggesting she could be leaving the WNBA to play internationally, potentially for a bigger paycheck and more playing opportunities.
I don't know about you, but I'd be an owner that'd be like, ladies, shut up and dribble. Actually, it wouldn't be shut up and dribble. It'd be shut up and turn a profit. Get in this together. Quit being dumbasses. Quit being your typical, egotistical, selfish selves. That's what I would be, but hey, that's just me. NBA team owners want to see a return on their investment in the WNBA. They're frustrated. The WNBA owes the NBA so much we won't see any windfall for years. But the entitlement. Think about this, ladies. Do you want equal treatment or do you want equal but special treatment? Now, we all know the answer to that. The great show 30 Rock talks about that when they eliminate DEI and Tracy Jordan has to be treated like everybody else. He's like, no. It's the funniest stuff ever. So what do you want? I know what you want. You want equal but special. Well, you're getting it, and good for you. NBA owners, and I don't blame them.
Experts aren't happy. Some are slamming Clark, arguing that if she leaves, it'll hurt the league's momentum, especially when it's relying on star power to pull in more viewers. They point to her as a key face of the WNBA's future, a future they fear might be cut short if she decides to pack her bags.
With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season. But with all of the drama currently surrounding the WNBA, on top of the low-paying salaries, some of these players are questioning if they'll even return.
So maybe they should learn to appreciate her more. After all, you don't know what you have until it's gone. It's too soon to say, but Caitlin Clark is definitely at a crossroads. If she stays, she'll continue to be the face of a league that's working hard to rise in popularity. But if she goes, she'll be following in the footsteps of other top talents who've chosen the overseas route for financial reasons.
During her exit interview, Storm player Gabby Williams warned the WNBA, if you want to keep international players, you need to do better. So here's what she had to say.
The W thinks that they don't have to pay us more in order for us to be here. And I think I didn't express that when I first talked about prioritization. You know, our commissioner talked about us being able to, you know, make $700,000. That's not true at all. There's not one player who makes that. And we were promised, you know, team marketing agreements and league marketing agreements, but they've fallen quite short. So it's still not enough for us international players to want to stay here, and that's a choice of the players. If I make a choice to make more money, whatever, and then the teams are mad that I don't come back, but that's how it is. So yes, it just the WNBA, you know, if you want us to be here, you have to pay us more. It's business, it's how it works, and that's all that means.
This year has been a game changer for the WNBA. The 2024 season turned into the most watched in the league's history, with TV and online viewership combining to surpass 1 million viewers per game. Even in the arenas, the numbers have been impressive. 154 games sold out, a whopping 242% jump from last year's 45 fully packed events. The sports appeal is clearly growing. A big part of this surge in popularity is coming from Caitlin Clark's presence.
But, well, what's the point? I think what Kate, by the way, I still haven't watched the game. So your point, the fact that I haven't watched it, I haven't watched it. The only thing I'm curious about, which you said when we had the conversation a couple months ago, guys, she's going to make nothing. She's going to make the minimum wage. Great.
Why? Makes $73,000 a year, but her contract with Nike.
But it's going to change. It's going to change because they had more people go to a Los Angeles Sparks game this year than the Lakers. There was more people attending a Sparks game this year than Lakers. Did you hear about this? When you get people butts and seats, pay for people changes, cash flow changes. So you're right. But there's one thing that she does that's duplicatable. Okay? So check this out. To me, it's not just shoots the ball. Who's the most, who in the last 10 years, let's not even say 10 years. What year are we? 2024? In the 2010 to 2019, that decade, okay, who was the most exciting player to watch in the NBA?
What decade was it?
From 2010-11 till 2020.
LeBron.
Who was the most exciting player?
Kobe Bryant. Kobe or LeBron?
You know who I would say to me number one?
For 2010? Exciting?
Steph Curry.
Oh, right. Yeah, Steph Curry.
Let me tell you.
Steph Curry,
Let me tell you. Yeah. Honestly, I'm telling you, because Steph was doing something that seemed impossible. LeBron is 6'8", 260. You're like, okay, that makes sense. Are you telling me this guy's shooting the ball, turning around and walking off? What is this all about? He did it in the All-Star game and he walks up, and then Nick Young tried to do it and it didn't go in. I think John Wall tried to do it. He couldn't go.
PBD. I never cut you. I'm going to cut you off. You see what you just did there?
What?
You just named 6 NBA players without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
John Wall did this,
No, but
and then
that's
Nick Young
not-
did
that's
that,
not-
Swaggy P.
What I'm saying to you is,
Yes.
I'm making the case study of Steph. Well, not Steph. I'm sorry, Caitlin.
He's
with
relatable.
Tiger. And all I'm saying to you is, you related to Tiger, military, like military daddy. Like, okay, you related to like, are you kidding me? You're not supposed to be this big person that can. This is that duplicatable, and then you're diselectrifying. No, within 3, 6, 12 months, we're gonna see if this is just a fluke or if it's real or not.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
We're 100% on the same page there. I'm with you, 100%.
But the WNBA's momentum isn't just a U.S. story. This year, the league made a significant global move, announcing 3 new expansion teams, including its first international team set to debut in Toronto in 2026. League Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has ambitious plans for a global platform, hoping to attract the best players from around the world. However, the league's growth faces a few hurdles, particularly around player pay. WNBA salaries have been a long-standing point of contention, especially when compared to international opportunities. In 2018 to 19, NBA players were pulling in an average of $6.2 million, with stars like Steph Curry earning $37.5 million a year. Meanwhile, the average WNBA salary was just $80,000, with the highest paid players topping out at $117,500.
And it doesn't matter to me that they haven't turned a profit. When they do, they deserve a bigger share of the basketball-related income. And we've seen it in our game, and it's made, obviously, both sides really happy and healthy. So I'm a big fan of WNBA. I like watching those games since the onset of coming into the league. But I think that they'll get it done, and I hope they do, and I'm sure they'll get a fair deal because they deserve one.
And I agree with Nneka Ogwumike. Look, it's not just about business. It is about the kind of world we want to live in. And whether they're making money or not, we've got to find a way to promote women's sports so that they get a chance to be in the public eye, so they get a chance to make a profit. The NBA makes plenty of money. Let's put more money into it. Let's treat these athletes as the elite athletes they are. I'm with her all the way. And I think the NBA will at least come a long way toward what they want.
Things have improved a bit since then. The 2024 maximum salary is $241,984, but the minimum for rookies is still just $64,154, increasing to $76,535 after 3 years. It's not hard to see why many players are looking abroad, where top American stars can earn significantly more. For instance, while the average salary in Russia's Women's Basketball Premier League is around $80,000 to $140,000, American imports often see paychecks ranging from $500,000 to $1.5 million. This discrepancy isn't just theoretical, it's impacted decisions in the past. In 2015, WNBA legend Diana Taurasi famously sat out an entire WNBA season because her Russian team offered her $1.5 million, a deal she couldn't refuse. So they can't really fault Clark if she takes a huge pay rise to play abroad.
From the sounds of this interview, it seems like she's probably going to make more money overseas in EuroLeague than she did during this WNBA season. Now, Gabby Williams is a player who came on my radar during the Olympics. She played for Team France, and this past season, she played for the Seattle Storm. Now, it's not out of the norm for WNBA players to play during the regular season and then during their off-season play overseas. This is something that has been happening for like the entirety of the WNBA. It even went as far as to 1 year in 2015, Diana Taurasi played in Russia and did not play in the WNBA. And it was never outright stated that she didn't play in the WNBA because Russia basically put that in their contract, that if she went there, she couldn't play. But that was pretty much what everybody thought happened because Russia paid Diana Taurasi at that time $1.5 million salary to play in Russia. Now, at the time in the WNBA, the salary, like the highest salary in the league, was $107,000. So obviously that's a huge jump. Diana took that offer. She played overseas, and at that time she was also like hands down the face of the league. The WNBA was not as popular as it is now, but that was an opportunity that Diana took, and I feel like with the growing popularity of the WNBA and with players able to, you know, make money off brand deals and this and that and their celebrity rising, there could be a world where more of these private owned EuroLeague teams, I could see some of these teams going after some of our star players in the WNBA. And if the money makes sense, if the business aspect makes sense, we could lose more players to playing overseas, like Gabby kind of alluded to here. The commissioner told her that she could make $700,000 playing in the WNBA through marketing this and that. I don't know what Kathy was talking about, because even the highest paid player in the WNBA currently makes a little over $200,000 in salary, and then I don't know what the WNBA does with their marketing dollars. But
as the WNBA eyes a more global future, it has to find a balance. Players face a tough choice between staying home and growing the league or chasing higher paychecks overseas. But there are still some big questions hanging over its next steps. One of the strongest arguments for boosting WNBA salaries is a push to mirror the NBA's revenue-sharing model. In the NBA, a much larger percentage of the league's revenue goes straight to player salaries compared to the WNBA, and that's become a sticking point for many fans and players. While ticket sales for WNBA games are booming, venues are packed to capacity. Revenue growth still faces limits. This is partly due to existing TV deals, the smaller venues they play in, and other structural factors that keep the league from maximizing its income potential.
The best clip of what I thought who gave the best feedback on this Caitlin Clark thing, and it's so evergreen to every industry. Go to Vaitaman's, actually, matter of fact, I think I texted it to you. Go to Vaitaman's Twitter account. If you can go to Vaitaman's Twitter account and find, you got to go down a minute to, right there, right, the clip. Oh, shit.
Matt Barnes?
You scroll back, you did, okay.
Matt Barnes?
Matt Barnes. Watch what he says here. Watch what he says. Rewind a little bit and play it.
Topic going on right now. Caitlin Clark says she got cheap shotted against the sky. I mean, throughout the season, she's been getting beat up. Hard screens, elbows, knocked down. It is what it is. She's not the first. She won't be the last. My issue and my question is, where the fuck are her teammates at?
Yes.
Where y'all at? Where the rest of the Indiana Fever at? I've seen a couple girls smirk when she's got knocked down, half-assed to pick her up. Like, y'all supposed to protect the asset, protect the star. And all this is the team. She's the star. You always protect your star. I was someone who protected the star.
That's right.
Fucking Cole, CP, Blake, list goes on. It's going to be a problem.
I love it. Yeah, he was.
And you wonder why you sit at the bottom of the league right now is because y'all don't protect.
He calls out the coach as well.
Coach don't do shit about it. Players don't do shit about it. Y'all should be ashamed of it. But the rest of the league is going to continue to test her.
The
and that's what they're
best
supposed to do.
clip I've seen from everybody was Matt Barnes. Good for you.
Good job, Matt.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I agree.
He also protects his wife. Didn't he drive 2 hours one night to beat the crap out of Derek Fisher?
Oh.
He also protects his wife.
You had to, Tom. That's my boy.
Speaking of protecting Kobe, his most famous play ever was the inbounds play where he tried to pump fake Kobe. Let me just say a few things. I'm going to rattle it off. You know, when a club opens, believe me, I know about the club scene in Miami. When a club opens up in Miami, you know the best time that everyone says is the first few months. Oh my God, the newest club, it's open. And I always say, circle back to me in a year and let me know how this club is doing. You know, 80% of the clubs will close. Circle back to me in a year on Caitlin Clark. Ain't nobody gonna be talking about this girl because the sizzle will be gone. She's a rookie, she's hot, she's new. Oh my God. By the way, it's summer. What sports are going on right now? There's a week until the NBA finals start. There's nothing going on in the NBA. The Olympics are gonna start in the next few months. WNBA season won't be there. When NFL starts, MLB playoff starts, this won't be a thing. So that's great. Enjoy it now. That's all I'm saying. Appreciate it now.
To hang on to Caitlin Clark is a tough one. On one hand, there's a lot of excitement and jealousy surrounding her. She's brought a level of star power to women's basketball that the sport has rarely seen. It's almost like what Tiger Woods did for golf back in the 90s. He pulled in millions of new fans who wouldn't have tuned in otherwise. Even in 2023, there were people that couldn't name a single WNBA player, but suddenly Clark's name was everywhere. She's been a magnet for new fans, and that's exactly what the league needs if it ever wants to be self-sustaining and truly profitable. Some people believe a new superstar can raise the profile of the entire league, but others seem to feel that Clark's quick rise comes at the expense of more established players.
She's just exceptional. I mean...
But is she being treated differently on the court as a rookie?
Well, when you say being treated differently, is the physicality there? Well, yes, of course the physicality is there. You know, she has to earn her stripes. You know, 17% of all flagrant fouls this year in the W. There's been 32 as of the other day, and 5 of them have been against Caitlin Clark. But let me say this. She has taken everything that's come her way. And look what the Indiana Fever have done since the All-Star break. I think they're 7-1. They've clinched. They're 18-16. They had not made the playoffs in 8 years. And she, you know, Boston and Mitchell are just crushing it right now. They've got a lot going on. I give Christy Sides a lot of credit, their coach.
Okay, but why is she, I don't want to say she's polarizing, but it feels like Caitlin Clark is controversial for some reason. Like, how did we get to this point?
You know what? We got to this point because this point has happened before. You know well enough that in 1984, when Michael Jordan came into the NBA, the ratings in the NBA were not great. Chicago Stadium was, you know, a third full. And he comes in from college winning the championship at North Carolina. And you know, the Jordan rules are in effect. They're knocking, you know, the heck out of him. He's getting the lion's share of the attention. The games are now getting all of his games are on TV. And he just was a polarizing figure. And Tiger Woods was like that when he went to the PGA as well. He changed the total economics of golf the same way Michael Jordan changed the financial economics of the NBA. And I think with that, there's going to be, it's human nature sometimes to have some envy or some jealousy. And it's happening now to Caitlin Clark. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a part of that, but everybody in this league is a part of the success right now.
Veterans like Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart, who have been dominant for years, haven't seen anything like the media attention Clark is getting. Then there's the added layer of demographics. Clark is white in a predominantly black league, straight in a league where about 1/3 of the players are openly gay, and conventionally attractive in ways that appeal to mainstream audiences. She's already signed endorsement deals worth tens of millions in a league where many players have to play overseas during the off-season just to make ends meet. It's understandable why some fans and longtime WNBA veterans might feel frustrated seeing her become the face of the league so quickly.
But we shouldn't hate on somebody who's actually doing her job. And she's doing it really well and exceeding expectation. And a lot of these young players in the league, that's why the W is so appealing right now. And people it's one of the most rated leagues in the world. And, you know, I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to see what's happening with the game. And, you know, I hope that the great players in the league right now, whether it's Brianna Stewart or Collier or, you know, Taurasi, you know, Brittany Griner, I want them to continue to shine with Asia and some of the other players. But these rookies, they don't want to be labeled rookies. Yeah. They're ballers. They're coming after you. They're coming for your job. They want guaranteed contracts. They want to have long-term success and make a lot of money.
Still, many have suggested that it is not fair to pin any of this on Clark. She's playing the hand she's been dealt and taking advantage of opportunities that any player would jump at. The backlash is likely rooted in a mix of jealousy, valid frustration, and sometimes a bit of ugliness. For now, the league's challenge is to capitalize on the buzz Clark is generating while ensuring that it doesn't come at the expense of the players who've put in years of work. Whether she's a future GOAT or not, her rise is forcing the WNBA to confront some tough questions about its present and its future. There's a familiar pattern that shows up anytime something niche goes mainstream. It's a weird mix of emotions. Excitement because the thing you love is finally getting some respect, but also frustration because now it feels like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, and the specialness is diluted.
But I also think our mentality, though, was different. Yeah. And it's not to take anything away from these players today, but it was different. I love the fact that The league is still around. It's still growing. Players are doing crazy things in the league, and just from sponsorships, endorsements. You and I were talking about this a little bit before the show, but it's definitely growing.
Yeah.
And for NBA players to invest in it, Dwayne Wade being part owner of the Chicago Sky, Tom Brady part owner of the Aces, again, it seems like this is the time to do it, and it's okay to do it.
This same tension is popping up in the WNBA right now. The league has been around for a while, and it's had dedicated fans even when it wasn't cool or trendy. Yet, as the WNBA has seen a rise in popularity, thanks in part to rookies like Caitlin Clark, some longtime followers are feeling those mixed emotions. There's excitement, but also a hint of resentment as the league gains broader recognition. One clear example of this tension is the reaction to a recent article in the Wall Street Journal titled, "Inside the WNBA's Big, Bold, Record-Breaking Year." The piece focused on stars like Aja Wilson and Angel Reese, but noticeably left out Caitlin Clark, despite her significant impact on this historic season. Fans weren't happy, and the comment section filled up with complaints about the omission. For Clark's supporters, this felt like a snub for a player who's quickly become a rising star.
So what this fake outrage tells you is that racism isn't really what they're upset about. This is just too manufactured and overblown to take seriously. They're reaching to a degree that's comical and delusional at the same time. This scandal has been invented out of whole cloth by WNBA players for one reason and one reason only. They are racked with envy and resentment that the most popular player in the league is white. I mean, what they're really claiming is that Caitlin Clark, by bringing a bunch of white fans to the league, has naturally also brought racism. Basically, they're complaining that too many white people are watching women's basketball now. And for her part, Caitlin Clark has basically gone along with this narrative, by the way. She made a statement denouncing all of the made-up racism, predictable. Now, the racial hysteria reminds me of the summer of 2020 just playing out on a much, much, much smaller stage. A white woman playing basketball has become the WNBA's George Floyd moment, basically. And just like we saw with the George Floyd situation, before long, people start to push back. No normal person wants to pay money to support a team only to be told that they're racist and horrible for doing it. It's a big part of why the DEI grift has begun to collapse.
But the frustration goes deeper. It's not really about Clark herself, it's about who gets to be a superstar in the WNBA. The league's legends, like Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Swoops, were hugely talented, but they never got the kind of media treatment Clark is receiving, barely a month into her pro career. Clark's already landed huge endorsement deals and is being hailed as the league's future. Another layer to this conversation is about representation. Clark's rise is happening in a league that's predominantly black, and where around a quarter of players are openly LGBTQ+. Clark is white, straight, and comes from a rural background. She's an all-American type that might feel more relatable to mainstream audiences. It's not the first time the league has had white stars. Rebecca Lobo, Sue Bird, and Diana Taurasi are proof of that. But there's a sense that Clark's background and appearance make her more marketable, and that's rubbing some people the wrong way.
In other words, they're now accusing the people who have started showing up to WNBA games for the first time in more than 2 decades of being horrible racists. So now for the fine print. None of these racial slurs we're told about, some of which have supposedly occurred during games, none of them, as far as I'm aware, have actually been caught on camera. Interesting. There's no visual or audio evidence that might substantiate any of this. Not a single credible report, even. That's extremely unusual, obviously, given that there are cameras and smartphones at every WNBA game. You'd think that if a mob of racists were buying up WNBA tickets so they could heckle the players with racial slurs, as is being claimed, then the videos would be all over the internet. But those videos are not all over the internet. They're not anywhere on the internet. So instead, we have to take the player's word for it. Here is Brittany Griner, for example. Listen.
How do you feel about what has happened over the past year with the W since you first came in to where it is now? And obviously the game has grown and people have there's new fans, but how do you appreciate the new fans without all the noise that's come with them?
The new fans that sit there and yell racial slurs at myself, my teammates, and the people that I play against. Because yeah, those might be opponents, but those are friends too. You know, like they don't deserve that. So I don't appreciate the new fans. I think it's okay to do that. But I do appreciate the new fans that respect the game.
There's that that woman, Brittany Griner again. You know, the question that Brittany Griner was asked was about the massive growth of this league, which was dead in the water just a year ago and had been dead for its entire existence. And the reporter asked, "What do you think of all the new fans?" And like in any other context, when someone says, "What do you think of all the new fans that are coming in?" Usually it's, "Oh, it's great. We love how everybody is supporting the league and we're so grateful." None of that.
Sure, there's some jealousy there. Some of it is about the way media narratives are crafted and who gets chosen as the face of the league. But it's also about the history of the WNBA, where veterans have put in years of work without getting the same level of exposure or financial support. Clark's rapid rise to fame can feel like a signal that the game's history and hard work aren't being appreciated or respected. Her endorsements and the attention she's getting represent a changing tide in women's sports. But it's a change that's leaving some longtime players and fans feeling sidelined. Is it about race? To a certain extent, yes. Is it about jealousy? Some may say yes. It's a complex mix of emotions swirling around the WNBA right now, and Clark happens to be at the center of it all, not entirely by her own choosing. For her part, she's doing what any young player would do, capitalizing on her moment.
Yet some WNBA players are still upset that the media isn't making an even bigger deal out of the fake racism scandal. Reading from the USA Today, quote, Chicago Sky rookie Angel Reese says the media should have done more to combat the ongoing issue of racism in women's basketball before it reached a boiling point. The WNBA on Wednesday condemned all racist, derogatory, threatening comments that have been directed towards players after Connecticut's Sun All-Star Alyssa Thomas called out racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base following the Sun's series-clinching 87-81 victory over the Fever. Reese said this has been a long-standing issue, noting that she's been the subject of racially motivated hate for some time. Reese, however, said her pleas for accountability and action have been repeatedly ignored. Quote, the media has benefited from my pain and me being villainized to create a narrative, she wrote on X. They allowed this. This was beneficial to them. Y'all a little late to the party and could have tried to put out this fire way before it started. Yes, it's a fire. A fire is raging, a fire of hate. You're not going to see any of the fire. You can't see it, but it's there. Trust Angel Reese on this one. This shaming obviously had the desired effect on some in the media, which is what led to this line of questioning. Listen.
Melissa, how did you personally deal with the hate, the racism, the attention, scrutiny, and then also just navigate that to go out there and hoop?
I feel like I'm the type of person where I just be putting like a lot of stuff to the side and try to keep like the main thing. So I don't be trying to get too like deep into like the other side of things, because I know at the end of the day I'm just, I'm here to play basketball, and it's also like, there's only so much you could say when you're here.
Well said. Very eloquent. Very eloquent. These are eloquent, really intelligent people. Great people. The best of the best. He says, Nalissa, is that actually her name? N-A-L-Y-Y-S-A. Is that how you spell her name? Capital N-A, capital L-Y-Y-S-A. Is that actually how you pronounce it? Is that how you spell it, really? I mean, that's not how you spell that name, but maybe that's how she spells it. Anyway, how did you personally deal with the hate, the racism, the attention, the scrutiny, is what we just heard is the question there. If you listen to these press conferences, you'd think that skinheads are like rushing the court and assaulting the players in the middle of the games.
But it's clear that her rise is forcing some uncomfortable but necessary conversations about how the WNBA is evolving and who gets to be its standard bearer. The league may need to work on their structure if they are to persuade stars like Clark to stay for a long time.
And there was a huge boom in merchandise and television viewership and sold out arenas and all of these things, which I feel like the WNBA could have capitalized on it even more. And if there wasn't so much drama in the league and the players weren't saying like, I've been over all of it. My channel's not going to turn into a drama channel. I'm not going to just constantly be complaining about things that the WNBA has done wrong this season, but they've definitely done a lot of things wrong. And I feel like the viewership, the numbers, all the things could have been even higher than they were, but we have seen that boom. So with that, more money should come and these players should be able to make more money. With that, we also saw a video this week about how Caitlin Clark actually was advocating for actually not even her own teammates, but for other teams' players because of all of the eyeballs that the Indiana Fever were bringing in. So let's look at this clip from Allison Barber, who was the president of the Fever.
Here's all you need to know about Caitlin Clark. When we would go to away games, they always sold out. Unbelievable. So Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000 people, and they sold 1,000 standing room only tickets. So when we walked into the arena, people were on that third balcony looking down at the tops of our players' heads to watch. It's really hard to take in. After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players. She said, wow, we're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Could they get a spot bonus? So that's the heart of Caitlin Clark.
Despite her status as a rising star, Caitlin Clark's rookie salary is just over $80,000, a number that might surprise some fans. But here's the catch. That figure doesn't tell the whole story. Thanks to a handful of lucrative sponsorship deals, she's pulling in a lot more off the court. And those endorsements likely make up the bulk of her actual earnings. This financial security might be a big reason she's not feeling the same pull to play overseas that some of her peers experienced during the offseason.
Think about some of those guys at the end of the bench that are 36, 37, 38.
What is the style of players? What am I still holding you around for? What do you do? Okay, you're a good vet. You're a good vet because the rest of my team is 22, 23, 21. That's why you're a good vet. I don't need my whole team 35 and up. No, for sure.
And that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist in the W. Your whole team's not that. You probably have, I would say, I don't know, maybe 4 teams that have older players, but it's only 1 or 2. And I think those vets are good for the younger players coming in.
Like 13 out of 36.
I mean,
no, I hate that number.
That's not a good look for the league
But
itself.
until there are more teams, that's going to happen.
My sister was playing Tulsa Sock. This was going into she was supposed to go into her 5th year, and she got cut for Marion Jones for the sake of the name. This was the track Marion Jones.
Yeah, Marion Jones, the track Marion Jones.
For the sake of just having her on, she never played, none of that stuff, right? But my sister was jaded from that experience because she felt like she definitely not only deserved a spot, but she could really play, she could contribute. But like you're saying, those other younger girls that are getting cut for players who are just for the namesake, they're older and people still want to come see these players play, but it's not contributing to the game, it's contributing to the ticket sales. Those are the decisions that the WNBA needs to make because like you're saying, those girls that are getting cut are going to the other side and they're like, damn, am I good enough? Am I good enough to play?
They don't really come back.
Are you saying the WNBA should be the one to cut or get rid of
something? No, it ain't WNBA, it's team.
It's the team.
I know, it's the team. But you said that's where the WNBA needs
to evaluate. They need to evaluate what to do with the younger players based on keeping older players for ticket sales or notoriety, or the fact that they want to bring in these younger talent just because they want to better the team. Because the younger talent can contribute to the team's success, but they just might not have the names.
But it also don't mean just because they're younger that they're better.
Caitlin made her commitment to the Indiana Fever clear with an Instagram post celebrating the end of her rookie year, saying she's ready for another season. This is a pretty big deal because she's becoming a key part of the WNBA's growing presence in the U.S. The league saw a major spike in viewership in 2024, and a lot of those peak moments happened when Caitlin was on the court. It's safe to say she's a big draw. Her impact hasn't just been about popularity. She was named Rookie of the Year and finished 4th in MVP voting, a strong start by any measure. It's a sign that once she gets more familiar with the WNBA's tempo and has a chance to rest up, she could be even more dominant in the seasons to come.
I'm just kind of ready for the next chapter and a new challenge in my life, but I think the reason I decided to announce it when I did was just to have that closure, especially going into...
With just 12 teams, the WNBA showcases some of the best female athletes on the planet. And Caitlin has not only proven she belongs, but has also started to rise to the top. It's hard to imagine her heading off to Europe now that her star is shining so brightly in the US. Her decision to stay stateside could be a huge boost for the league as it continues to build momentum and make its way into more American living rooms. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. Thanks for watching.